What Fred Vasseur has just revealed about Lewis Hamilton's explosive radio message during the Spanish Grand Prix isn't just a defense of Ferrari, it's a glimpse into a much deeper issue that could define their entire 2025 season. While Hamilton called it the worst race he's ever experienced, Vasseur is now suggesting the car wasn't that bad at all. He points to the data from the final stint, the lap times, and claims Hamilton's frustration was a bit extreme. But that's exactly what makes this moment so revealing. If a seven-time world champion feels completely disconnected from the car while the team believes the pace was fine, that's not just a performance gap. That's a communication breakdown. And if that gap keeps widening, no amount of upgrades will fix what's really wrong inside Ferrari. This wasn't an isolated moment of frustration. In recent races, Hamilton's radio tone has grown more distant, more defeated. In Spain, he let it air without comment, dropped behind midfield cars, finished sixth after a penalty reshuffle, and when asked for positives after the race, he said zero. Now, Vasseur is publicly downplaying it. The question is no longer just about the car, it's about trust. And if that trust isn't rebuilt quickly, this dream partnership could collapse before it ever really begins. Stick around because in the rest of this video, we'll unpack everything that went wrong in Barcelona, what Vasseur's comments really mean, and what Ferrari need to change before Canada to stop this from becoming a full-blown crisis. But first, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay until the end, because what's happening behind the scenes may be far more serious than anyone's admitting. Fred Vasseur's comments about Lewis Hamilton's furious radio message during the Spanish Grand Prix may have sounded calm, even rational on the surface, but they've pulled back the curtain on something much deeper happening inside Ferrari. When a driver of Hamilton's caliber declares mid-race that he's experiencing the worst race of his life, and his team boss later downplays it as a bit extreme, it's no longer just about results. It's about perspective. It's about whether two of the most important figures in this project even agree on what reality looks like anymore. And the worrying truth is, they don't. That's what makes this moment so dangerous and so fascinating. This wasn't just a bad race weekend. It was the clearest possible signal that something's breaking inside the Hamilton-Ferrari relationship. Not because of one mistake, one bad strategy, or one upgrade that didn't deliver, but because the connection, the shared understanding between driver and team, is starting to fracture under pressure. Now, the question isn't just whether the car is fast enough, it's whether this entire project still makes sense for either side. Let's go beyond the surface. When Vasseur said the final stint on soft tires showed competitive lap times, he wasn't wrong. The data suggests the car had potential, but data doesn't drive the car. Hamilton's experience inside that cockpit told a completely different story. He didn't just sound frustrated, he sounded lost, abandoned, like he'd spent 66 laps fighting a machine that refused to cooperate, while his own team stood on the sidelines watching numbers instead of listening to the person behind the wheel. What Vasseur failed to grasp, or perhaps failed to acknowledge publicly, is that Hamilton's comments weren't about milliseconds or margins. They were emotional, human. They were the raw release of a champion who felt like the car, the strategy, the preparation, the entire race had been a betrayal of everything he signed up for when he put on the red suit. This is where the danger really lies. Ferrari are treating Hamilton's feedback like it's a calibration issue, like if the numbers don't match the emotions must be the problem. But Formula One doesn't work like that. Not with someone like Lewis Hamilton. When he says, "This car is undrivable," you don't respond by citing Sector 3 splits. You respond by asking why he feels that way, what's wrong in the corners, what's missing in the setup, what didn't translate from the simulator to the circuit. But instead, Hamilton gets silence or worse, contradiction. This is a driver who left Mercedes, a team built around his every need, to challenge himself at Ferrari. He came not just to compete, but to create something historic, to be the man who brought Ferrari back to the top. But now, 5 races in, He's not just struggling for pace. He's struggling to feel seen, to feel supported, to feel like the team is responding to him, not just reacting to numbers. When that happens, results are just the first thing to suffer. Confidence follows, then motivation, then the will to push through pain for the bigger picture. If Ferrari want to change that, if they truly want to rescue this project, it's not going to happen through another upgrade or technical reshuffle. It's going to happen when they choose to stop managing the narrative and start listening. Listening to the frustration, listening to the silence, listening to a world champion who, for the first time in years, doesn't sound like he believes there's anything left to fight for. Not because he's lost his edge, but because he's unsure anyone around him still shares his urgency. This isn't the moment for PR. It's the moment for honesty, for a reset. Because the most dangerous failure in Formula One isn't a slow pit stop or a wrong tire call. It's failing to notice when belief starts fading from within. Hamilton came to Ferrari for greatness, but unless something fundamental changes, what he may find instead is the realization that greatness can't be achieved when your voice echoes through a garage that only listens when the data agrees. If that continues, the tragedy won't be that Ferrari failed to deliver him a title. It'll be that they never really gave him the team he needed to chase it. There's something wrong with this car, mate. It's the worst ever.